Welcome to Boxing During Dinner, and as you can see, no dinner for me. I'm in a hurry. I'm going to jet out that door as soon as I finish this episode, and I'm going to get you guys an interview with a person that you want to hear from, somebody that's been making news in the boxing world. But let's start with Sergio Martinez, who fought this past weekend against Matthew Macklin. A tougher time than a lot expected for him to have. I just think it was that Matthew Macklin is probably a better fighter than you guys gave him credit for. There's a guy who probably beat Felix Sturm over in Germany, got robbed, and gave Sergio Martinez hell for the first half of the fight. But Martinez, being the great champion he is, knocks him out in the 11th round. He's a great fighter, an even better person. I mean, if you've ever had the chance to meet Sergio Martinez, great guy. But our own David Berry over in Rochester drove down all the way to New York City. How long a drive is that, Alex? Probably like 5 or 6 hours, right? You know, David's a trooper. He wanted to get you good, some good footage for Boxing During Dinner. You guys saw the weigh-in, the interview with Larry Merchant, and now a post-fight report from David. David, being there in the arena, what did you think of Sergio Martinez, and what was the consensus after the fight?
Well, Armando, as you said, yes, I was at the fight this weekend. Sergio Martinez versus Matthew Macklin for the recognized real middleweight championship of the world. And, Armando, there's a couple things I want to say about this, and you alluded to some of this. A lot of people are knocking Sergio Martinez, namely the HBO crew, and whether or not those are the real opinions of HBO, or if it's, something that they felt compelled that they had to share in order to create some controversy. Sergio Martinez has won 4 consecutive fights by knockout, and I wonder if he's become a victim of his own circumstance, in the sense that the way that he beat Paul Williams and Kelly Pavlik was so, astonishing, so kind of mind-blowing the way he beat these guys who were not really people he was predicted to beat, at least at the time. If he's, somehow now becoming a victim, like I said, of his circumstance. Now, I want to address a couple things. One, the notion that Sergio Martinez, is he really the number 3 pound-for-pound fighter, or does he deserve to be ranked higher, or, if he's struggling with guys like Matthew Macklin. Number one, Matthew Macklin was far better than advertised. He's recognized by many as the 3rd best middleweight in the world, and he came out and proved that he might even be better than that. So the 10-1 odds, not fully accurate. Matthew Macklin is a legit middleweight, and he will have another shot at a title. He should have already had one against his fight against Felix Sturm, which is another issue. But number 2, is Sergio Martinez a victim of the fact that he's ranked number 3 in almost all pound-for-pound rankings? Yes, to an extent. I think that Sergio Martinez is one of the best fighters in the world. He manages to finish fights. He's got the endurance that rivals only the 2 other guys who are supposedly ranked higher than him, Mayweather and Pacquiao. I think that Sergio Martinez, though, however, is more of a fighter ranked maybe number 4 or number 5. And just off the top of my head, somebody who I think would fit in his position at number 3 would be Andre Ward, who's arguably the 2nd most sound boxer in all of boxing, next to Floyd Mayweather. And then maybe even in the number 4 spot, you have a guy like maybe Marquez or Donaire. Again, I don't want to commit myself to either of those, but the fact of the matter is, Sergio Martinez maybe belongs somewhere a little bit lower. That's not to take anything away from him, but he's become a victim of his own success, and that's one of the reasons that you see him now getting a whole bunch of crap from people because of the way he is or isn't finishing fights for someone who's supposed to be ranked number 3 in the world.
So yeah, David, I know you think that Martinez is probably in the bottom 10 of the pound-for-pound list, but I rank him higher. I rank him in the top 5. I think Martinez is a great champion. He'll beat anybody, I think, at 160, including Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That'll be a good fight. He could come down to 154 and fight Pacquiao or Mayweather or one of those guys, but Sergio Martinez is definitely one of the best in boxing. But David, I want to jump quickly to this upcoming weekend because we have a couple of very interesting fights. Eric Morales fighting Danny Garcia for the 140-pound WBC title, and that'll be an interesting fight. Garcia's a young kid, unproven, but he's fighting a veteran in Morales who's a little past his prime. He's been good as of late, won that belt. I mean, yes, it's all politics. The WBC wanted Morales to win the belt, but he had to win a fight to get it. And Morales has done more than I expected him to do in this comeback. But David, the fight that everybody's interested in, James Kirkland against Carlos Molina. And I'm a big advocate of Carlos Molina. You could say he's like my Miguel Cotto, I guess, at this point, right? Because I pick him in every fight. I think he's such a good fighter. Doesn't, underrated, doesn't get all the pub in the world. And David, guess what? I'm picking Carlos Molina once again. The kid has not let me down to this point. James Kirkland, yes. He's a hard hitter. Probably one of the hardest hitters in boxing. Top 3, in my opinion. But James Kirkland has zero boxing skills. His jab is lazy. He gets hit. Alfredo Angulo, if he hadn't punched himself out in that first round and he hadn't been slow as fuck, because the guy is one of the slowest fighters I've ever seen, he would have knocked out James Kirkland. Kirkland got up, the rest is history, knocks out Angulo, and now he's fighting Carlos Molina. Molina, not a hard hitter, but a slick fighter. He's going to box Kirkland's ears off. Going to do a number on this guy Saturday night. David, I know you might have a difference of opinion, but what do you think of Kirkland Molina?
Armando, I know you have your thoughts on this one, about the fact that you're a very big Carlos Molina fan, who is, I will agree, 100% one of the most underrated fighters in the entire sport. One of the best talents at 154 pounds. But the James Kirkland that I saw against Alfredo Angulo in his last fight can beat anybody at 154 pounds on the right night. And because of the X factor of his power, this newfound determination that he seems to have under Ann Wolfe for the second time, I have a hard time betting against James Kirkland over the course of 12 rounds, despite the fact that Carlos Molina is a tremendous boxer. I just don't think that James Kirkland is in a position right now where he will allow himself to be denied, and I expect a pretty exciting fight pretty much throughout, I hope. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, that each of the fights on tap seem to be exciting. You never know. This one might not be, but my pick is that James Kirkland is going to find a way to start landing shots, and I expect a mid to late round knockout for James Kirkland. My prediction for Morales Garcia is a war, and frankly, I don't have a pick for this, and I know that's really, not where we're supposed to be lying. We're supposed to have something legit, something firm for you guys to go on. But Danny Garcia's looked better and better on each of his fights coming up. But then Eric Morales just has this never die type of situation. I wonder, though, if in his steps up in competition, he may have bitten off more than he can chew in this fight against Garcia. But time will tell. But I do expect an all-out war, because Eric Morales has never been the guy to go down without a fight. But Garcia is that rising prospect. If I had to lean towards one, I would say this is Garcia's fight, but I'm not comfortable saying that.
Well, thanks a lot, David. We'll see you next week over in Rochester. Keep warm. Actually, I think stuff is warming up there. It must be that global warming stuff they're talking about. But anyway, the last time we had boxing during dinner, it wasn't official yet. Richard Abreu, who, as you saw on Boxing During Dinner, because the video that you guys have seen of the brawl, that's our video everywhere and anywhere. And as you saw in Boxing During Dinner, Richard Abreu scuffled himself into a title fight against Brandon Rios. Well, he is technically the champion, but come on, guys. You all know that Brandon Rios is probably the best lightweight in the world. So Richard Abreu, April 14th, against Brandon Rios. We haven't had a chance to talk to Brandon Rios. Obviously, he's over on the West Coast. We're here in Miami, Florida. But right now, we're going to walk out this door. We're going to go to the gym to interview Richard Abreu in his training camp as he gets ready for the biggest fight of his career. The WBA lightweight interim champion fighting Brandon Rios for the WBA title. It may be a better fight than you all expected. You all expected Gamboa. Gamboa's a no-show. Has his own stuff to take care of. Is getting sued by Top Rank. I don't want to be Gamboa right now. The guy may not fight for a while. And Richard Abreu, a better fighter than people give him credit for. A good boxer, doesn't hit hard. But we're going to talk to Richard Abreu, talk to him about why he went there that day at Versailles restaurant to talk to Brandon Rios, what he thinks he could do against Rios, and what this fight does for his career, because until now, you probably haven't heard of Richard Abreu. Well, he has a belt, a minor one in that sense. It is an interim belt, but he may surprise a lot of people April 14th. We shall see. Brandon Rios, one of the best young fighters in boxing. Richard Abreu, we'll see what he could do on the 14th. But later this week, we will have the interview for you guys, and then we'll return next week with a recap of Carlos Molina's win over James Kirkland. Right, David? Yeah, I thought so. See you next week.